won't bow down to no man.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of the Milking the Clock podcast. My name is James. I'm from James Carter TV on YouTube, and here's my co-host, my good friend Chase Oliver from Chase Oliver 68 YouTube channel. What's going on, Chase?
Nothing much, James. It's winter time. It's coming near that Christmas feeling. You know, NBA Christmas games, winter break. I'm excited. There's a lot going on that's exciting in sports.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And this is our first edition, so, I mean, it's a pretty big show for us. We've done this before. We're experienced. We're not noobs. We know what we're doing, so you don't have to worry about any of that. And with that said, we want to preview the games coming up this weekend, NFL and college football included. But let's start with the NFL, and let's start with the biggest game to me, and that is the Sunday night football game.
Oh, hell yeah.
The Carolina Panthers visiting the New Orleans Saints. Now, last Monday, the New Orleans Saints didn't play well. They went to Seattle, and they got their butts kicked. I mean, it's pretty obvious that's what went down. Now they are hosting the Carolina Panthers. Now, we all know that the Saints are better at home. Is that enough for you, Chase, to say that they're going to win this game?
It will help me for choosing them to win this game. Look, I like the Panthers, and I like what kind of run they're on. It's an interesting run. It's a story that I would love to tell people if they do make it to like the Super Bowl or something, because they are a legit team. But it's not enough for me to say like, oh yeah, they're just gonna flat out win. But it does help me support the Saints because I feel the Panthers and the Saints are gonna split this year. That they're not one team's gonna freaking sweep them. But I do feel that the Saints will win this weekend. And also, if you look at the Panthers defense, you know, the middle of the field has been wide open for a lot of teams. I think we've talked about it just off air, how open the middle of the field is. And that just seems like it's a good opportunity for Drew Brees to get his rhythm back. So I think that the Saints will win in New Orleans, but when they come down to Carolina, that's when they will lose.
You see, whenever a team explodes like the way Carolina has, I'm always a little bit skeptic. And I really am skeptic in this situation because, yes, they're playing great. And you could make an argument they have the best defense in the league next to Seattle. But still, it's not enough for me to say that they're going to go to New Orleans and they're going to beat New Orleans. And if they do it, though, if they somehow pull it off, they beat New Orleans in New Orleans, they're a Super Bowl contender now because, to me, New Orleans is a Super Bowl contender. They would now beat a Super Bowl contender. They would be en route to an NFC South championship, number 2 seed in the NFL and the NFC, and a first-round bye week. So, I mean, if they do it, then fine. But I don't see it happening. I mean, Drew Brees is at home. I'm picking him at home. And if the Carolina Panthers can beat New Orleans in New Orleans, I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't sweep the New Orleans Saints. I don't say they sweep them yet. Really, a sweep? I don't see it. I do see the Saints winning at home. I see Drew Brees and the Saints wide receivers and tight end Jimmy Graham taking advantage of the Panthers secondary, because the Panthers secondary, to me, it can be exploited deep. I mean, we saw the Dolphins take deep shots down the field with Mike Wallace. We saw the Buccaneers do it a couple times with Vincent Jackson. If you throw the ball deep, you will be successful. You will get enough of those big chunks of yardage. It's going to come down to whether or not the Saints can give Drew Brees time to look down the field and convert those big, deep shots, long passes to Marcus Colston, Jimmy Graham to hurt the Panthers secondary, and I say they do it without a doubt. I mean, I think coming off of a loss, the Saints have to win. They know they have to win. They're going to be resilient, and they're going to get this victory at home, because if they don't, they're in big, big trouble, and you start to question whether or not they can win on the road, because if they can't win this game, they're going to be a wild card team, and they're going to have to win on the road time and time again in order for them to make the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be resilient. This is why Sean Payton's here, and I think he shows his worth for this game. Any more thoughts?
I just have a quick question. Say if Carolina loses this game and the Saints lose to Carolina at Carolina, and the records just stay the same pretty much. Like they don't lose to any other team. Who wins the division? Because I'm trying to figure out who has the better tiebreakers. Would Carolina win the division just because they beat New England over what the Saints couldn't do? Like, do they have opponents that they won against?
You're saying if they ultimately tie?
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure, I mean, as of this moment, the Saints have the tiebreaker, so I could imagine that at the end of the season, if both teams tied, if they split, that then the Saints would still have the tiebreaker.
All right. I was just trying to make sure because I was going to say that's going to be interesting when it comes down to tiebreakers if it came down to that. So, yeah, I do agree, though. Because, like, the Saints, when they get Jimmy Graham, what was, like, the main play for the Saints with Jimmy Graham? Like, throwing it down deep to this motherfucker, and he catches it, and then it's all over. Like, once you see Jimmy Graham, like, drag your quarterback to the end zone, I feel that's demoralizing for a team. I feel it hurts a team's confidence a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And Drew Brees, I mean, during the Monday night game, he was a little bit inaccurate. Him and Jimmy Graham were on the same page. I think they get on the same page. They have to, and I think they do it under pressure. I think they have to, and they will do it. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to college football real quick. We're going to go back to the NFL soon, but we want to talk about college, and we want to talk about the championship games because this is championship week, and we have some big championship games. Now, SEC championship. Auburn and Missouri. Now, this is going to be very controversial because whoever wins this one, if Ohio State wins, and I'll get to that later because I have something very important on that. If whoever wins this game, a lot of people are going to say that they should be in the BCS championship, even if Ohio State wins. Now, but let's worry about who wins the game first. Missouri or Auburn, who do you have?
The winner of this game, for anyone who doesn't know, if they don't make the BCS championship, they will go to the Sugar Bowl because the Sugar Bowl gets the best SEC team, or Alabama. I don't know how that's going to work. That's going to be interesting. If Mizzou wins, they might not even make the Sugar Bowl, which would suck, but they would make it at large. But who's going to win this game is very interesting. I like this matchup. I actually love this matchup. I'm a huge SEC fan, so you deal with it, people. I'm an SEC bias type of guy. But when it comes down to it, this matchup is so interesting because you have Auburn with all these damn miracles, and then Mizzou out of nowhere this season comes out and is beating teams like Georgia and South Carolina and all these other guys. I mean, these guys have been amazing this year, Mizzou. I feel Mizzou actually does have the win here just because I like their passing and running game a little bit better. They're a little bit more balanced. I think Auburn is done with their miracle plays. I think the Auburn Tigers have had a great miracle season. But other than that, I think it's pretty much done for Auburn. I think Mizzou will win this game. I think their defense is a little bit better. I love their strong wide receivers that they have, both at 6'4", 215 pounds. I think Mizzou's going to win this game, especially if James Franklin's back to play.
There's no doubt that the Auburn season has been magical. I mean, we already know the play that happened against Alabama this past week, and a lot of people blame Nick Saban for that. I don't. I think Nick Saban did a great job coaching, but that's just to me. Yeah. And also the famous Georgia play, tipping the ball up, and then somehow it ends up in the hands of an Auburn player, runs it back for a touchdown. But that's enough, because Missouri is just, to me, quite frankly, a better team. They're a better finesse offense. They're a better well-oiled machine on defense. It's all in the writing for them to win this game. They haven't had the great win. They haven't beaten an Alabama, but they haven't faced an Alabama. Yeah. Their schedule hasn't been tough, but they've been dominating their games for the most part. I mean, Johnny Football did nothing. Absolutely nothing against Missouri.
If you want to talk about a big win for them, that to me, that's considered one of their big wins because they lose that game. They weren't going to be in the SEC championship. And here's Johnny Football, who is trying to go for a second Heisman, and these guys make Johnny Football look non-existent in the game. I was like, wow, they did something like Alabama couldn't do, that Auburn couldn't do. They did something that most teams can't do, and that makes Johnny Football feel like a non-factor.
Yeah, they made him a non-factor. Absolutely. They shut down Mike Evans. And when you shut down Mike Evans, that's what's going to happen. So when you look at what Missouri did against Johnny Football, what are they going to do against Nick Marshall? Because who's a poor man's Johnny Football? For the most part, Nick Marshall, not even close to being a good enough passer. You can say that Nick Marshall rivals Johnny Football's athleticism. Okay, maybe. But still, Missouri did a great job of neutralizing Johnny Football's ability. I see them doing the same with Nick Marshall in this Auburn offense. I think it's going to be a quite convincing Missouri victory, and I know a lot of people aren't going to want to see that because a lot of people are still rooting for an Auburn-Alabama rematch. I don't think we're going to see that.
I think the only way that's possible, I don't think there's any way they can face off in any bowl situation, like major bowl situation, maybe in like a Chick-fil-A bowl, but in any major bowl situation, I don't think those two teams can face off. The only way they can face off is, as we talk about in the other championship games, if those top two teams lose and Auburn wins, then it'll be Auburn-Alabama again.
Yeah, now let's get to another bowl. And this is a bowl to me that I think is going to go the opposite way of what most people think. And that is the Big Ten Bowl between Ohio State and Michigan State. There's a lot of controversy right now, as I alluded to earlier, that the SEC championship winner should be in the BCS championship, whether or not if Ohio State, wins this, it doesn't matter. Well, guess what? To me, it won't matter. Because to me, Michigan State is going to beat Ohio State. So we won't even have this debate. Because when I look at Michigan State's defense, it's the best defense in the league. I mean, in college football, it is the best defense in college football, without a doubt to me. Absolutely. Now, you can make an argument that their offense won't be good enough to keep up with Ohio State. But why? Why are you going to need to keep up with them or you're going to shut them down? I remember when Michigan State played Michigan, I said, wow, because these guys shut down Michigan. Absolutely. Yeah, Devin Gardner and this Michigan offense couldn't do anything. So when I look at that, I say, wow, Michigan State, why can't they beat Ohio State? I think they can beat them quite convincingly. It's at a neutral location, obviously. I love Michigan State to pretty much slow down Braxton Miller and the Ohio State offense and score enough points to beat Ohio State.
Yeah, no, I agree here with Michigan State because I feel Michigan State is always underappreciated in the Big Ten. They always end up choking some games that they shouldn't lose. Like they should have. They're always one of those teams that you say that team should go undefeated, but they end up losing to a team they shouldn't lose to, and that's what always hurts them. But they always recruit well in the defensive part. All their defensive players are tough. Their corners are big. One of my favorite schools to watch. But if Ohio State does win, as much as the SEC mark I do feel that Ohio State should get the BCS championship bid because they are undefeated, and I want to see the two best teams going at it. But I feel Michigan State will win too. I'm in agreement with you that I think Michigan State will win. I think people are writing off Michigan State way too early. It will be one-sided where people are going to be going.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's actually throw in the Pac-12 championship in there. Stanford, Arizona State. These are two teams where a lot of big playmakers is going to, jump out at you. So I don't expect big talk about this game, but I like this game. I love what David Shaw has done with the Stanford program since taking over for Jim Harbaugh. And I think that continues. I think that Stanford gets a victory over Arizona State. And I think it's quite easily. I love David Shaw. He gets it done in these big games. And that's why I love him.
Yeah, same here. David Shaw, it's the same with Stanford for a while now. They can't really get past the regular season of college football. There's always one slump to them. But other than that, these guys are a tough football team. Arizona State's going to play the same type of football. I like Arizona State's defense a little bit more than Stanford's defense. I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? But if you guys watch these guys play, they're a lot more vicious than Stanford, in my opinion. But I feel Stanford still should get the win because I feel David Shaw may have a game plan to make sure those big defensive tackles are not touching Kevin Hogan and touching the running back of Stanford. So I agree. I think David Shaw and the Stanford Cardinals will be going to the Rose Bowl.
All right, yeah, and you're right. The winner of this game probably going to the Rose Bowl, so that'll be something to watch there. Let's move to the NBA. We go all the way, we're all full circle in this podcast, and we want to talk about, frankly, how bad the Eastern Conference is, and I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth. Yeah. I've never in my lifetime seen the NBA Eastern Conference this terrible. And honestly, people were talking about, taking away 2 Eastern Conference playoff teams and replacing them with 2 Western playoff teams. And at first I thought that was ludicrous, but the more I think about it, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not insert the 9 and 10 seeds from the West and put them in the Eastern Conference? Because right now it is quite awful. As of this moment, there are 4 out of the 8 teams in the Eastern Conference has a losing record, and they're not even close. Boston 8 and 12, they're the 4th seed right now.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit is 9 and 10, they're the 6th. Chicago 7 and 9, they're the 7th. They're going to get even worse. Charlotte 8 and 11. It's awful. I mean, it is entirely awful. The Atlantic Division, especially, it is awful. Boston is on top of it, 8 and 12. You thought finals contenders with Brooklyn and New York. Brooklyn is 5 and 13. New York is 3 and 13. I mean, it is dumpster fire awful. New York has lost 9 straight games. Luckily, they face tonight. So one of these teams is going to win, whether it be the Knicks or the Nets. Regardless, this is terrible. Absolutely dreadful. I don't know whether it's like a talent, idiocy, or what's going on with this Eastern Conference, Chase. What's going on?
I honestly cannot explain you what the hell is going on with this Eastern Conference. There's only 2 good teams in that conference, and that's the Pacers and that's the Heat. And the sad thing is, those 2 teams can take it to a West team in the finals. But it's just like, let me ask you, James, who's the 3rd best team in the East? Who is?
As of this moment, it's either Atlanta 10 and 10 or Washington 9 and 9.
And are those teams that you think should beat a Western Conference team in the finals?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. Like, the East is just weak. I don't know what the hell it is. And if you look at the NBA draft, how many Eastern Conference teams were picking in, like, the top 5? I think there was, like, 4 of them, while there was, like, the Phoenix Suns, who were number 5. I mean, honestly, the Eastern Conference, I don't know what the hell is going on this season. I mean, I expect Brooklyn and New York to have a good bounce back. I don't know. I heard Carmelo wants to fuck out of New York. I don't know what the hell that's all about. But, you know, the Western Conference, like, I would feel bad if teams from the Western Conference, like, let's just throw in who's a team that you think that's good that will get left out this season in the playoffs? Like 2 teams.
Memphis.
Memphis, I think, would beat a lot of Eastern Conference teams, and technically they could be in the Eastern Conference. Tennessee's more East, I would say. And who else? Like, is there anyone else from the West? Denver or Dallas? Maybe Dallas could get left out.
Yeah.
The Mavericks, I think, have a better shot at beating a lot of Eastern Conference teams than most. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, the Bobcats can actually make the playoffs this year. Are you shitting me? I mean, let's just look at it. We could have 2 losing records in the postseason this year, maybe even 3, but that's pushing it. The Eastern Conference is bad. I think a lot of people this season for the NBA, and I was talking to it with my friends, I feel this season, all we're excited for is Kobe Bryant returning. I feel that's the biggest excitement. Whether you're a Laker fan or not, Kobe Bryant is still a fun player to watch. And I feel a lot of players just want the playoffs to happen. And I just feel a lot of people want to see what the finals are. And I feel more people are excited for this offseason when LeBron and Carmelo are free agents. And then not only that, we have the NBA draft with Wiggins, Parker, Randall, Smart, that kid from New Zealand or Australia. I forgot his freaking name.
Dante Exum.
Dante Exum. I mean, you have all those kids there. I feel this season of the NBA is going to be one of the worst, one of the hardest to watch, one of the just like terrible seasons. But that was how 2003 kind of was. And then we went on to, 2004, and that was a great season because of all the influx of new talent with Dwayne Wade, Carmelo, LeBron, Bosh, and all those other guys. I feel that this season's one of those seasons where it's just like, we just want the playoffs. You don't even need to play a regular season. And are you in agreement that they should shorten the regular season? Because I still like the lockout season. The lockout season is one of my favorite seasons.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, starting the season on Christmas Day, I mean, I love that concept. The one year they did it at work, they got huge ratings on Christmas Day. Why not do it from now on?
Yeah, I agree because, like, the problem is I feel like with the NBA is that you lose interest because they're going on. They start when the NFL season is, like, in its prime. When the NFL season, we're just getting to the big matchups like Patriots versus Broncos and, all that type of deal. So I just feel they need to shorten the season of the NBA. I don't feel like the NBA needs to have 82 games. I feel the players, with the injuries that they're suffering now, it hurts the league more than anything. And then not only that, in the East, let's just think about it. Next year, James, the Pacers are going to be the best team in the East. We don't know if the Heat are going to keep the big three together, especially if they don't make it to the finals this year. What are they going to do? I mean, the big three can't stay together because how are they going to build their roster? Because they only have one guy under contract next year, and that's Norris Cole and probably Dwayne Wade. But, this is going to be interesting where the Eastern Conference, there's only going to be one good team next year. And that's pretty sad because the Eastern Conference used to be kind of a stronger conference back in the 90s, but nowadays it's just kind of weak.
Yeah, and I just find it funny as we finish this up as an unrelated but still related note. You talked about the Charlotte Bobcats making the playoffs. This is the year you don't want to make the playoffs.
Exactly.
Michael Jordan. Okay, if this guy makes the playoffs, it's actually unexcusable to me. It's actually egregious to me because this is the year you do not want to make the playoffs, and they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be out of the lottery, and that is just ridiculous to me.
And I believe the two other draft picks that they have for this draft, they're top 12 or 15 protected from the other teams. So those other teams are actually doing good for them. So that's good for Charlotte. But the thing is, don't you want to just say, hey, the roster's not good. There's guys in this draft that can help this roster get better. I don't know what Michael Jordan's thinking as an owner. Philadelphia's another reason. I don't know what you're thinking. Why do you want to – because they're going to have to lose Evan Turner or Thaddeus Young. I don't think they can pay both of those guys. Do they even have the cap too? So I don't know. And plus they're still paying Andrew Bynum's contract, right? Don't they have to still pay off Andrew Bynum's contract?
Yeah.
Philadelphia? Yeah. So they're troubled in cap, so rookies would help them a lot. But yeah, this is a draft, like you said, you don't want to make the playoffs. If you have a first round pick, for me, for teams that don't have a first round pick, you got to make the playoffs. Otherwise, you look like idiots for the trades that you made. But if you do have a first round pick, that's why the Rockets are trying to trade Omar Ashek for 2 first round picks. Because they know this draft is talented and there's idiots out there. There's idiotic teams out there that will give them 2 first round picks for this NBA draft.
Yeah, I mean, and also you look at teams like the Knicks and the Nets. They traded their first round picks. They're awful, and yet they do not have first round picks. Atlanta has the Nets first round pick, and Denver has the Knicks first round pick. And by the way, Atlanta would be wise to lose games as well because hell, they'd have 2 top 5 draft picks, but they're winning, and that's fine. Whatever. But it's just wow. This NBA draft that's coming up. A lot of these Eastern conferences will have the chance to get better. Hopefully they do. Cleveland. People were talking about this team being a playoff team. Okay. They're healthy because Andrew Bynum, as of this moment, is healthy. Kyrie Irving's healthy. Everyone's healthy, and they still stink. Yeah. I don't understand what's going on. They're talking about trading Dion Waiters. Anthony Bennett is fat. He has asthma. What a terrible draft pick already to me. I'm saying nothing. He can't make a basket. They drafted this guy saying, oh, look at what this guy can do offensively. He can't make anything.
If you were the Cavs, would you have drafted Victor Oladipo instead of Anthony Bennett? Because I know I would have. I would have said, okay, yeah, I have Dion Waiters, but why not have a loaded backcourt? What's
absolutely. If they're going to trade Dion Waiters away anyway, then they might as well have gotten Oladipo.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I feel or Macklemore at least, because what are the Kings doing with Macklemore? I haven't heard his name or.
But he's doing okay right now. He was Rookie of the Month.
Okay, good for Macklemore. I didn't know that for the West he was Rookie of the Month for the West.
Yeah.
Jesus, see that's how you know the West doesn't get any fucking good rookies because these motherfuckers always get actual deep picks. While the East they get all the star-studded people. I think the best Western rookie in a while is probably Davis or Lillard from 2 years ago. So, yeah, no, but do you think the Knicks should probably trade Carmelo since Carmelo is unhappy and just give him to a team that's looking for that one extra piece for draft picks?
I absolutely do. You look at the Magic who did not trade Dwight Howard. What a huge mistake. And Anthony's gone, okay? It's sayonara. This guy's gone at the end of this season. And you look at let's say the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers would give you Blake Griffin for him. So if I'm the Knicks and the Clippers, I'm thinking really long and hard about doing a trade like that because you have to get something for Melo. You have to get something out of Melo.
Yeah, because I say you trade Melo and try to find what you can get for him instead of just saying, oh hey, here's Carmelo Anthony. This is what we have. Like would the Clippers really want to trade Blake Griffin? Their front court sucks. That would mean Lamar Odom becomes a starter when he loses weight. Right?
Yeah. All right, well, with that said, we're going to do what we do every week. We're going to make this a weekly tradition. When the NFL is going on, we're going to quickly go game by game, quickly get it done, make our picks. You guys at home, if you're betting at home, we'll give you some picks here. And we'll also do a little spread here or there. So for you guys betting at home. So let's start off with tonight's game, Thursday Night Football. We have the Houston Texans going to Jacksonville playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who do you like in this game?
Jaguars.
Yeah, me too. I actually like the Texans in this game, to be honest. I feel as if the Jaguars are winning a little bit too many games. I mean, they had a tough schedule to begin the season. They're winning more games now that their schedule is getting easier, but they're winning their way out of getting a good quarterback. So, I mean, that needs to stop. I'm going with the Houston Texans. We have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to the Bengals. I like the Bengals winning this one. The Colts still, to me, are not a good team. What about you?
I agree with you here, Bengals. I think they're a better team overall.
Yeah, we have the Atlanta Falcons traveling to Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers may not play again, and because of that, I'm going with the Falcons to win on the road.
I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to play, but if he's not playing, I agree with you. Falcons are going to win on the road here.
Oakland Raiders at New York Jets. I'm going with the Jets?
Yeah, same here. I don't care who wins this game. None of these teams are going to make the playoffs, but I think the Jets are good at home, so.
Jets are good at home. And I mean, they beat the Saints at home. They beat the Patriots at home, but they should beat the Oakland Raiders. Detroit Lions at Philadelphia Eagles.
That's a toss-up. I want to say Detroit, but I think Philly is going to pull it off. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with Detroit, and I'm going to say this will be Nick Foles' first interception.
Yep, we have the Cleveland Browns going to New England. I think this is the blowout of the week. The Browns are not playing good football anymore. What happened? I'm going with the Patriots.
Yeah, the Browns are starting Caleb Haney now at quarterback, and Josh Gordon's still going to put up big numbers. Love you, Josh Gordon, second best receiver in the NFL.
Miami Dolphins at Pittsburgh Steelers. Dolphins staying in the playoff race. They beat the Jets last week. Do they beat the Steelers this week? I say no.
I agree. I think the Steelers are still a really tough team in the playoffs. Playoff race, Steelers are going to win this one.
We have the Buffalo Bills of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got to go with the Buccaneers, winners of their last 3 out of the last 4 games. I think they win this one.
Yeah, I agree. The Bills don't have enough talent on offense to stop that very talented and underrated Buccaneers defense.
We have the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to face the Washington Redskins. The Redskins have turned into a joke, and they don't even have a first-round pick to salvage that. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
St. Louis must be so happy right now. They must be so happy. I'm going with the Chiefs, too. Alex Smith is actually throwing the football. Can you believe that?
Wow. We have the Minnesota Vikings at the Baltimore Ravens. Matt Castle apparently is starting, and I don't know whether that helps or hurts, but it doesn't matter because I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens either way.
The Baltimore Ravens, they control their own destiny. This is where the Ravens thrive, when they have to control their own destiny to make the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm choosing the Baltimore Ravens.
St. Louis Rams at Arizona Cardinals. I say Carson Palmer bounces back after a bad week last week. Cardinals did not run their 2 tight end formation enough last week. I think they figure it out. They do it this week. I'm going with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals as well. I feel like they're just an overall better team than St. Louis. And if you're St. Louis at this point, why do you want to try to win football games? Might as well have 2 high draft picks.
Yep. We have the New York Giants at the San Diego Chargers. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers offense fumbled the game away last week. I say this week they protect the football. They beat the New York Giants.
I'm actually in disagreement with you here. I think the New York Giants are going to have a big win because the Giants had a struggling week last week. I forgot who were they playing. I'm drawing a blank. The Redskins. They barely beat the Redskins. They only beat the Redskins because of a bad call by the referees. And a terrible placement by the referees, but I feel the New York Giants will win 2 straight here. And I'm picking the New York Giants to win this game.
All right, we have the Seattle Seahawks going 2 for San Francisco. I honestly think the Seahawks are the best team in the NFL, but I think after a great emotional win, they're going to be emotionally tired and spent, and they lose on the road to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going with the 49ers.
I'm going with the Seahawks. Last year, the 49ers were supposed to dominate them at home. Colin Kaepernick, ever since starting for the San Francisco 49ers, has played terrible against the Seattle Seahawks, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I'm choosing the Seahawks.
We have the Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. As I alluded to earlier, I'm going with the New Orleans Saints.
I'm going with the Saints as well. I like Carolina. I hope Ron Rivera has the best career as a head coach there, but Drew Brees at home, give me Drew Brees.
And finally, we have the Monday Night Football game, the John Gruden game, as I like to call it, with the Dallas Cowboys at the Chicago Bears. I think Gruden ends up with a boner for Josh McCown after this game. I'm going with the Chicago Bears.
I'm going with the Bears, too. Let's face it. This is a huge trap game for the Dallas Cowboys. I can see the Dallas Cowboys throwing this game away. But
all right, and with that said, that ends our NFL Weekly Picks. If you want to check out our YouTube channels, youtube.com/ChaseOliver68, youtube.com/JamesCarterTV. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure to subscribe down below. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, ChaseOliver68, and at JamesCarterTV. And thanks for checking out our first podcast. We will be back next week. Mondays and Thursdays, those are the days we like to come on here. We like to spill our knowledge. That's what we love to do. That's what we like to do. Let's finish it out with a funny nugget on Mike Tomlin. What do you got?
I wish Mike Tomlin was in the Alabama and Auburn game.
All right. Well, with that said, Milking the Clock Podcast, I'm James Carter TV. He's Chase Oliver, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.